people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits will decide their future.
Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have a guest on that is actually in Spain now. And I like this guest because when I saw her profile, she talked about productivity and empowering other business owners. And I think that is a great topic. So welcome to the show, Jo.
Thank you. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Jo, tell us a little bit about your background. Kind of what were you doing before you started your business?
Okay. Yeah. So I started my business exactly 8 years ago. So it's actually 8 years ago this month. So I was like celebrating last week of like, it's been quite the journey. So for my corporate career, was always a executive assistant. So I would live in like London, and I supported like high level CEOs in businesses. And that really showed me very interestingly how people show up at different levels. Like really, I kind of like where I guess my interest in productivity came from is really watching just the difference in how certain people showed up, and the people that are further along who've got really, really very strong boundaries, very good rituals and routines. And so that was really interesting. And then when I first started my business, I actually started as a VA, a virtual assistant. And then my clients were independent business owners, so small business owners that, just needed a little bit of support. And again, like really being able to see, and it's just like really evolved. So I started really supporting them. That's kind of like was my first kind of leap of like confidence wise, this is what I know I can do. And then, just as you grow, as you evolve, you realize how you can impact people in a bigger way. And so then I started doing productivity coaching. And actually my big dream for working for myself was that I wanted to travel the world. Like I wanted to build a business that was completely online, that I could run from anywhere in the world. And, at the time, my life was very, very different. And so I was really clear when I was creating my coaching business that it's all online. Everything was done remotely. I didn't do like in-person stuff. And then I went off location independent and traveled for like 3 years. And then decided, right, I wanted to get a house. Where in the world was it going to be? And I've ended up in Spain. So this journey of like my business has been quite interesting, of like really supporting my own lifestyle goals. And it's evolved. And now I'm really, really about like empowering business owners to what I call like live bigger, like live big is like and that looks different for everybody. It might be that you want to work school hours, or it might be that you want to, have a massive impact and give back or whatever. For me, it was like traveling. So that's the background. It's kind of got me to here now, is like supporting my clients all over the world because of the traveling that I did, and really empowering them. So there's three kind of things that I talk about. Is like the vision. What do you want it to look like? Because I want them to build a business that's aligned to their lifestyle goals, not somewhere that we get there and we're like, actually, I still haven't got any freedom. Like freedom's really important to me. Then mindset, like working on getting out of our own way. And then the productivity is like this is how we actually make it happen. So that's kind of like whistle stop tour of like the journey that's been up and down.
And I think that's a very good point, because in talking to some entrepreneurs and even talking to just like business leaders and executives, one of the things that I found to be very interesting when I have like a honest conversation with them, and I think it might have been when I was at General Electric, an executive and I were talking, and he was saying, to be honest with you, if I knew it was going to be like this, working at this level, I probably would have set a different goal.
Exactly. Yeah, I look back now and I see it with my clients all the time, like we reach to another level. And of course it brings up so much stuff, because it's been the biggest personal development journey I could have gone on. And I love that, but it has stretched me a lot, and I'm grateful for it. But also, it's hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I do like what you were talking about with the productivity, because from my background of working with Fortune 500 companies, kind of in the industrial manufacturing space, where productivity is a process oriented thing, to where it's all about how do you improve the process to I guess, increase the output, or I guess be able to accomplish more with less resources. When you talk about productivity and working with your clients, what's the kind of the angle, or I guess, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's different because like that corporate world is like so different. Well, for me, it is about, actually, there's a quote that says it all. And it's like, people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits will decide their future.
Wow.
That for me says it all. It's like our habits will determine what we achieve or don't achieve, or what our life looks like. And so for me, productivity is about having productive habits, like having really good routines in place. And this is coming from somebody whose top value was freedom, right? And so I had to learn the hard way that the freedom comes through discipline. So the more structure I gave myself, the more if I set goals and worked out when I would work on them, I'm more if I set less goals, I'm more likely to achieve them. And so it was a real process for me as well around, okay, so I need to have structure and I need to have routine, but it needs to be flexible, and then I can thrive.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like the side of it. And then the other thing for me that's different about productivity is, I think that we can give you the tools. Like, I can give my clients all the tools. It won't make any difference. So I call out like the masculine side. That won't make any difference unless we look at, why do you procrastinate? Why do you perfectionism, or all the ideas, or why do we get confused? Why can't we make decisions? All those things are like productivity blocks. And we need to look at those, which is why I bring in the mindset of like, we got to peel back some of the fears and stuff,
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, so what types of services do you, I know you've alluded to it some, but what types of services do people hire you for?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. You can start with like I've just got a self-study productivity course. It's just literally called Get Productive. And that is like I'm like, this is what I do monthly. This is what I do weekly. This is what I do daily, to keep things moving. I'm very focused on business and personal. So I'm always making my clients set personal goals as well as business, because obviously if one drops, it all drops. And so so of course it's like really learn the tools and implement them. I also do like one-on-ones work. So we might have like half-day sessions where we dive into everything, or ongoing things. And then my sort of main signature program is called the Live Big Lab, because this is my whole thing about empowering people to live bigger. And that is, it's a 90-day accelerator program where we really focus on vision, mindset, productivity, and getting them into like this really great kind of rinse and repeat system that they can just keep doing again and again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where can people find you if they want to hire you for your services?
Well, I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are the best places. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then one question that I like to ask all the guests when they're on the show is, what is one or two pieces of wisdom that you've picked up in your entrepreneurial journey that you're like, hey, entrepreneurs should know and understand this to be successful?
I think the thing that's had the biggest impact on my own journey is embracing imperfect action. And I know that this is really hard for people because we're perfectionists, but it's like, when I gave myself permission to imperfectly show up and take action, that is the only reason I have the business I have now, which looks really different to when I started, because like we take action, we fail, we give ourselves permission to fail fast, learn, then we course correct, like this is how we get the clarity and the confidence. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. So imperfect action has been the best gift I give myself. And I tell everybody, it's the best thing you can give yourself. And I think also what I alluded to about like your habits will create your future, and like sitting down and asking, like, are my current habits going to take me to where I want to go?
And I think that that is a very, very, very good point to look at, because one of the things that I learned in kind of the industrial manufacturing is like the process is what creates the product. And it's just like whatever your process is, it'll be very, very predictable to understand what the end result's going to be if you study the process.
Absolutely. It's so true, isn't it? Like we overcomplicate it. We let our minds get in and we overcomplicate it. It's like, look, like routines, like the things that we resist are normally the things we need to do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show and sharing the wisdom and insight. We'll definitely add the one pager so people can get in touch with you. They can see, and I did see on your website where you had a speaking engagement so people can follow you and they can see what you're up to next.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, be sure to click the subscribe button and follow us on all social media platforms as the Business Talk Library.